welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm kidding out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that? Hey!
Rach, who do you love?
HD Photo Hub.
Today's episode is brought to you by HD Photo Hub.
The platform real estate photographers trust.
And so do we, because Rach and I both use it on a daily basis. Check it out.
Okay, we are on the last and final episode of our large 3-part series on getting on video. Doing video. What are we calling the series? Implementing video marketing into your business. Something like that. We haven't quite come up with a name, obviously.
I think we called it Getting Your Ass on Camera.
Ah, there we go. Getting your booty on camera.
Get your big old booty on camera, baby.
Just do it. All right. So we have given you a reason why you should get on camera. We have talked about the mindset to help you have the right mental state to get on camera. And today we are actually going to give you some implementable, some things you can implement, tips and tricks on how to be more comfortable on camera and what to do when you're filming to make it easier on yourself.
First of all, choose words you can say easily.
Can you say that word? Let's hear it.
No, but I'm sure that tittable isn't in there.
Implementable. I did it. Okay. I love it when I say something wrong or don't know something and our listeners will like message us on Instagram like, Rachel, it's this. I'm like, oh, thank you. So really genuinely like, thank you for that because it's nice to know the answer to these questions I have. Okay. So here we go. All right. Number 1 is to not script it, which we did talk about previously. But I want to talk about a teleprompter and why a teleprompter is a bad idea. Neal, do you feel the same way that teleprompters are bad news?
I usually steer people away from a teleprompter. There are some people who are naturally gifted at a teleprompter, but that is few and far between. Like
the weatherman?
Yeah, and they practiced a lot to get there. Yeah,
exactly. And that's my point is like, it is really, really, really hard to read a teleprompter and not sound scripted.
Yes.
Even voiceover. I had a client, I did a reel for her and she was struggling with her lines and we did the whole thing. And she was like, I wrote out this whole script. We just do a voiceover? I'll just read it. And then you can decide if you want to use it or just do voiceover over B-roll. And I said, okay. So she sat and read the script and I made her do it twice because the first time she was reading it and it didn't sound genuine. It sounded like she was reading a script. So even reading, not being on camera, just audio, it's hard to bring enough emotion forward when you're reading to not make it sound scripted.
Yeah,
so
and especially if you're reading words that aren't actually yours.
Yeah,
it's not the way you think. You know, if you we all love using Chat GPT, but it's gonna likely speak in a way that you don't naturally talk like, and it's harder for you to get those words out, and it's harder for you to memorize too. If you're trying to memorize, if it's not the way you speak, it's way harder for me anyway to memorize those lines. So I do recommend people write it in their own language if they are going to have a script to go off. But then I think we both do the same thing where we tell people to really just focus on bullets. It's not important that they get the words exactly right. It's more important that the message is delivered.
Exactly. And you know these subjects, the things you're teaching are not brand new knowledge to you that you can't freely, openly talk about. Right. I know sometimes the way you want to say the sentence needs to be really thought out and structured. You think it does. But in reality, if we're delivering the line and allowing some of our mistakes to come forward, that's kind of showing a little bit of that vulnerability, showing that you're a real person, and people might actually like you more because you messed up or you said it weird or you can't pronounce a word like the word I was just trying to say that I can't remember what it is now.
I can't remember either.
I can't remember anything. I have pea brain. Just in and out. Whoop, whoop. Every time I watch a movie, Like literally, I can watch a movie and the next year I'll watch the same movie and it will be like a brand new movie. I'm like, I've seen this before. I don't remember this movie. They
Oh,
just
I
in and
see.
out. I don't know. I can't hang on to movies. Like people who can quote movies, I'm so envious of. I'm like, oh, I wish I had that skill, but I don't. I
Mm.
don't. There's only so much room. It's small in there, so there's only so much room.
It's only so much. That's what I say too. Like, I can memorize things forever, but the day I go like I'm done with whatever I memorized, it's gone like
Right?
instantly. Not like I can't get. It's just later because I always joke too. Same thing. Needed room for something else, I guess.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a good tip too. When you're creating reels, you only need to deliver one sentence at a time, really. And you can change your camera angle every sentence, or you can change the zoom or add B-roll over, and you can kind of piece it together in editing to make it sound like one cohesive reel. You don't need to say the whole thing in one run. So
Right.
if you can get out one sentence comfortably, move on. You're good. You
Yeah,
got the next one.
that's one of the benefits of kind of the trend is how
Mhm.
things are edited right now is they prefer that you kind of do these cuts where you jump in, you jump out. It used to be that that was faux pas. You weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to have
Mhm.
this long cohesive, so you wanted like it done perfectly in one take. But now you don't need that at all because you can cut like that. So it
Yeah.
makes it much easier to just spit out small chunks at a time.
Yeah, we put out an ad for our content calendar bundle, and it was me. And I started with like putting my hat on, and then I put a coat on, and then I went outside, and I literally had the script in my hand of what I was saying. And each sentence, I would look at my script, and then I'd deliver it. I'd memorize it, and then I'd deliver it. Then I had my dog, and went outside and got in my car. So it's easy. It's really easy to do it that way, sentence by
Yeah.
sentence. Yeah.
And it's important. Sometimes if you're doing it by yourself, it's important, I think, that you listen to them after because you might think it sounded normal until you actually listen to it. It's important that because you are still reading technically in
Right.
that scenario, you might actually do it robotic. So listen to that part before you move on and go, did that sound like I was talking to the way I would talk to my husband or friend or whatever? Because if it didn't sound like that, imagine that you're saying it to them.
Yeah. Exactly. I
Yeah.
like that. All right, next step is to speak deliberately. You want to eliminate filler words and
Mm.
use this valuable time to deliver what's needed. So let's talk about filler words. Neil, do you remember our first podcast episode
Oh,
when we
yeah.
listened back? It was
Ums and likes, so many. And it's
so many.
funny that we didn't even realize how many until we listened to it. Perfect
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we both made a conscious effort to stop doing that. And we did a good job. So
Yeah.
it's that whole do it, post it, correct something, and then learn from your mistakes, essentially. Awareness is the key to change. If you see something that you don't like or you need to eliminate, now you know, get rid of your ums and likes. That was one of the questions. One of the gals was like, how do I stop saying and like?
Mm.
I think she just asked about the ums. And I was like, well, now that I mean, it was kind of one of those where I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I just got to make something up. But I was like, it's kind of a
What'd you
dumb.
make up?
I said, well, now you're aware that you're doing it. Awareness is the key to change, right? The first step to changing is understanding that you have a problem and admitting it, right? The 5 steps,
Yeah.
10 step. I don't know. I'm not in AA, but maybe I should be. No. But no, I told her like awareness is the key to any change. So now you're aware of it. When you're filming, I want you to consciously be aware of it when you're filming. And if you hear
Yeah.
yourself saying a lot,
Makes,
stop and redo it
yeah.
without saying the But now that it's in front of you and you're going to be aware of when you're saying it.
And we're not perfect. We still have ums and likes, but
Oh, all the
when
time.
we first started, it was tremendous how many we had. It was very surprising. So
Yeah.
it did take some work, and I still work on it.
I
One
edit them
tip.
out, Neil.
Yeah.
A lot of them still to this
Oh,
day. 'Cause
yeah.
I say
We
all
used,
the time. It's
yeah, we
just
used to edit out a ton of them too, and we still
Mhm.
do, I guess.
We do. You're welcome. You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Yes, and
Now that
there's AI.
Rachel's editing
Yeah, there's AI software out there that will do it for you. So you can definitely.
and your cuts, if you're doing these short takes. But I will say one tip for this is the fillers really are you being uncomfortable
Mhm.
with silence.
Right.
See how I did that?
Yeah. Good job.
You got to start to be comfortable with having silence when you talk.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is actually there's power in the pause instead
Mm.
of the ums. So if I just had said, and what you'll find is, there's power in the pause. The actually makes us kind of snooze in reaction when we hear it. We go.
Well, it's a weakness. You're
Mhm.
showing a form of a weakness, an insecurity. You don't know what else to say, so you're saying
And it's dead
instead of
air.
just
It's
yeah, it
it's
doesn't
not. We
no
know it's not valuable at all.
it's not speaking deliberately.
Right. It's
It's
yeah. It's
it
not
doesn't
valuable.
add
It's not
anything.
deliberate. It seems like you don't know where you're going.
Right.
Whereas the dead air, even though that dead air doesn't have value, it's funny, but it builds suspense. And it almost
Mhm.
sounds like what you're about to say is so important. He's gonna lay it on us.
You lean in, you're waiting, waiting, waiting. Okay, there it is. Whew.
I have one important thing to tell you today, and that is I love beverages.
What are you drinking? You just took a drink.
Soda water.
And beverage. Soda
Yeah.
water.
But
Good
you
job.
see how you were hanging on that? You were
I know.
just waiting.
Just couldn't wait to hear.
Oh, it was so exciting, and then I let you down. I'm sorry.
Good job. All right. So no ums, no likes. I'm going to try really hard the rest of this episode to just pause and not use and like. You
Let's
know
be
what
comfortable.
one of my biggest problems is I talk too fast. But then I think they're reels and you need to talk fast because people get bored listening to a slow talker. Especially ADD people will drive them up a wall if you're a slow talker.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah.
You can't have too long of a pause because then they're just swipe.
Right.
Don't
You
overdo
can
it.
edit out the pause as well.
Yes.
If you have a pause, just
And I
edit it out.
highly recommend you do that. If you have a video and you feel like you listen to it and you feel like you want to swipe, it's probably because you have too much dead air in between those points you're making. So cut out the space in between those, make it quicker. It's going to help a ton.
Yes. And make sure you're not repeating yourself in your messaging when you're giving instructions or talking about something you're teaching. Don't
Neil Young.
repeat what you're saying multiple times. Just pick one version of it. Again, it's speaking deliberately. You have a beginning, you have your hook, your intro, then you have your details, and then you have a call to action at the end. So the call to action is just asking them to do something like comment, share, follow, all those things, right? And you have to tell people what to do or they won't do anything at all. So it's really important that you add that call to action at the end, unless you literally are just talking. You don't need it. You don't always have to have a call to action, but it's fun to ask, like, have you ever had this problem come up? Like, oh, I said it. What's the coolest house you've ever seen? Something to that effect that can kind of keep the conversation going, because some of our posts don't need a call to action, but I think there's a way to work it in. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, and I think your energy behind it too. A lot of times I'll start a video and I start kind of flat, right? And you talk about speaking fast. I will say that speaking slow can kill a production or like a play.
Mm-hmm.
We would do plays in college and they would be like, all right, we got to cut off 30 minutes of this play because it is dragging. And that was just pace. That was just speaking too slowly. Pick up that pace and it was like a whole nother play, people on the edge of their seat. So you do want to keep your pace up for sure.
Yeah.
And intention was what I wanted to say when I started this was the energy that you start with. It's kind of pace kind of goes in with it too. But if you start with that smile and you just start with that upbeat and you know where you're going, it can make a big difference in how it feels when you listen to it.
Yeah. And speaking with conviction and confidence.
Yeah.
And like, now I'm going to go every time I say the L word. One of the things that I used to always do was, I did it again. Gosh, I'm terrible. One of the things I used to always do was end my sentences with an up inflection. So with an up inflection, almost like I'm asking a question, like, where are we going today? Where are we going today? Are we going to the ferry? Like, right? But if you do it with a down inflection, it really shows like more conviction, more confidence, that you're sure of yourself. It just shows more authority versus leading or ending with kind of that up inflection, which I cannot get the word out, which insinuates that you're not confident in what you're saying or you're asking a question.
Oh, sounds like a question. I see.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a question or it makes it sound like you're not confident. I did it today. The reel that I made, I was asking people in the open house, I said, what's your favorite feature of the home? Instead of what's your favorite feature of this home? What's the favorite feature of this home? Versus what's your favorite feature of this home?
So you wouldn't want to be at your client presentation and you wouldn't want to go, I'm the best media creator.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I see a lot of people make this mistake, and I used to make this mistake all the time. That's one of
Okay.
my tips for that.
Okay.
I
All
wanted to
right.
say so, and I was like, nope, don't say it. That's another one I use so a lot.
Fillers.
Hmm.
Fillers.
But inflection can make a really big difference in the way you deliver your lines and the way you talk about what you're talking about, because you
Ooh.
want to really emphasize the words that you're saying to create some impact and
Ooh,
get people
I
to
love that,
really
Rach.
understand what you're talking about so they feel it.
Oh,
And you hear
if
it in
only
my
you had a
voice
good
right now?
example.
If only I did. I mean, I'm being a little ridiculous, but honestly, the bigger, the better on video because it comes across pretty flat if you don't go a little above and beyond. Like pump it up a notch from what you normally do in normal conversation. It's okay to be over animated and a little bit more over emphasizing of the tone in your voice to get your point across on camera. It's more fun to watch. Would you agree, Neil?
Yeah, and this is different than acting in a film where you would actually go the opposite way and you do less. This is you're trying to get people engaged and get their attention and keep them captivated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think you do have to go a little bit more, little bit of spice, a little bit of
Yes.
spice.
Yes. And smile, darn it. Because
Mm,
when you smile and you're talking, it comes through in your voice. Like you are
best in the
happier, more
world.
excited to be there. It's a lot easier to do an up inflection when you're smiling. I just figured out because I'm smiling like a moron right now. So I'm just so excited to be here.
It's a lot of teeth.
I know they're big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd you get all them teeth?
Yeah. So the smile, shut up, Neil. I don't even know what to say. I have no comeback to that. It's just like, ha ha ha. Am I supposed to laugh? Don't make fun of my big teeth. It's a sore spot.
Is it really?
No. No. But I do have large teeth.
Oh boy.
I maybe have been called a horse like once in my life, but
Really?
been a long time. No, I don't think anyone's ever called me a horse.
Listen, Rach, you got nothing on the teeth battle here with me. Can I tell you one time I was on set in LA? I was on set in LA. I was an extra for a movie, and we're just like 10 of us hanging around. And this guy I've never met before in my life walks up to me and goes, "Oh, damn, check out the grill on this cat."
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, "Hi, nice to meet you."
Wow.
So
Jeez.
you got nothing, horse. You got nothing.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Nothing.
I
No worries.
remember when we first started the podcast, we sent our caricature.
Yeah, I can't say that one either.
We never been able.
Caricature.
You can say it. I literally can't say it. Caricature.
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 Sure.
Sure. I don't try to correct me. It just is what it is.
If you're not watching the YouTube video right now, you will want to watch her try to say that.
I have to really think about it and it still doesn't come out right. So you know what I'm talking about? A little cartoon drawing of Neil and I.
Yeah.
We got it back from the guy and he goes, "Oh, yeah, he really nailed it with the teeth, didn't he?"
You really that's totally what they do, right? Like
Yes.
their
They
their
emphasize your
their
character.
best skill is to find your one thing that is like you and different, and it's like, yep, you found it.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Okay,
You
but
nailed it,
when
brother.
yeah, he did great.
Yeah.
But when you smile in your videos, it's going to soften your eyes. A lot of times we do the deer in the headlights when we get the camera in our face. So by having just a little soft smile, it just makes it more enjoyable and inviting to watch, and then it kind of softens your eyes too. We did talk about this on the last one. Oh, no, we didn't. We'll start from here. When we have a guest on the podcast, we always prompt them and tell them in the beginning that if you mess up and say something that you don't like the way you said it, feel free to just pause and then say it again, and we will edit it out. Same thing when you're recording your videos and your reels. If you don't like the way you said something, just be sure you add that pause in there before you start again so that the editor or yourself has enough wiggle room to actually edit that out. That has been an issue for me so many times. That's one of my things that I like. Oh, I talk so fast and run my sentences together, and then I can't cut it because the words overlap too much and it's too tight. So by having that pause, it allows you to trim it up a little bit easier in editing, and then you can be happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly is to be the happy idiot. This came from Dan Redwine from Masterplan.
Really?
Yeah, we were filming and he was like, happy idiot, Rachel, happy idiot. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, when we're filming, we have to be the happy idiot. He's dancing around being a moron. I'm like, okay, I got this. I got this. And that's just our cue to each other to pep it up a notch. Like, bring it up. You are too flat. You're boring right now. Like, it's a nice way of basically saying you kind of suck right now and you need to bring it up because your energy is low.
Put some pep in your step.
Girl, be the happy idiot.
Rach, I'm sorry, I got to interject. Okay, I got to give everybody a little tip, little trick that's been working really well with me with the marketing kit from HD Photo Hub. I use it as a little treat with any new client to kind of just put it right over the top. Like, this is a little like customer service finesse. I get a new client, they do the shoot and everything with us, and then when I go to send the completed order to them, I have it set up as a template email already, and it says, hey, thanks so much for using our services. As a little bonus, I also am including the marketing kit, just so you know in the future. It's normally $50 to add this, but I just want to say thank you so much, and I want to let you know that this includes a dedicated website to your property, printable flyers, social media templates, a video slideshow, and it's going to have your face all over it, and it's going to be great for you, and you can use it on your next booking appointment to win more listings, so that we hopefully are working with you again soon. And so I throw that right in there, and it's just like the piece de resistance, and they're like, what? Who are these people? They're fantastic, and we just got this cool thing, and guess what? They're hooked on it next time. Next time they buy the marketing kit, and I get a free little bump, little extra money with no extra work. So I love that.
That's freaking genius. I think I might start doing that because I don't do that currently. That's a great incentive. I've had a lot of clients call and they're like, oh, do you do like a new client discount? And I used to, but now I don't. Yeah, I think that would be a really good thing to do instead of saying, oh yeah, we give you a discount. No, you get a free property website and marketing kit with your first
give you
order.
a bump.
Yeah.
You make more money. Yeah, and it just costs a little bit to add that on there. So it's just like, nice finesse.
So if you want to try out the property website and marketing kit for yourself, you can put in promo code STS, as in shooting the shit, over on HD Photo Hub, and they will give you 50 free credits, which equates to about 3 property websites and marketing kits that you can test out and send to your clients and see their reaction for yourself. Okay, let's go back to the podcast. All right, next up, guys, next tip is to practice. Practice makes almost perfect.
Practice makes progress.
Yes, there we go. It actually does make perfection, but you got to practice a lot.
You are perfect.
You're never going to be perfect. I'm sorry to break it to you, Neal. Ever.
I'm already perfect, Rachel.
You can get close, but you're never going to be perfect.
All I see in the morning in the mirror is sheer perfection.
I love your confidence, Neal.
Look at that guy. Damn.
Woo! Perfection.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Walk out that house like, look out, world. Boom. Here we go.
And I always said this before. You're going to suck at first. You're not going to suck. I shouldn't say that either. You're probably just not going to be the best at first, and that's okay. It takes time to get better. So just keep
You're
trying.
not going to be your best first, though. There's very few people that I see that have never been on camera. There are a couple that is like, I'm like, hold on, what just happened when they nail it the first time? That's highly, and I work with a lot of people who are like, I've never done this before. And then we're like, go. And I'm like, what? You nailed it. But most people, it's like, all right, so I like that you did this, and let's work on this. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're like, okay, baby steps. We're going to just work on one thing today. Yes. One thing that I did, I unintentionally started practicing video content 7 years ago. I downloaded Snapchat and I started sending video messages to my friends. And we'd send video messages back and forth instead of texting, which was a lot of fun. And it allowed me to we'd use different filters and just dorks, whatever, just having fun. And it allowed me to hear what I sounded like, to see myself on camera, and to get comfortable speaking. So that is a good way if you don't have Snapchat, or maybe you do, just start sending video messages to a couple people that you know that you'd be comfortable with. And it's a good way to practice. Or even text video messages back and forth works too. A cool thing, one of my clients sent me a video text message and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, that is genius. Why don't I do that to my clients? That's so smart. A personalized video message. Like she actually took time out of her day to do that instead of just texting or talk texting into the phone to send me something. And then I sent her one back.
Yeah.
I'm like,
My
"Ooh, I
wife
can
will do that. A lot of times on Facebook, there'll be chat groups, and my wife does branding photography, and a lot of times they'll say, "Hey, anybody know a good photographer for a headshot or whatever?" And people will mention a bunch of people in that, and if Heidi's one of them, she will send them a video response, and she's got
Oh, cool.
really good response with that. They're like, "Whoa, she sent me a
Oh,
video and was like said a whole bunch of stuff that was cool, and they want to talk to her."
that's
So yeah,
amazing.
it works well.
Oh, I just got a good idea.
Oh, I see the gears moving.
I did
What you got,
actually
Rach?
do this.
You
I
happy
sent
idiot, you. What do you got?
when I was trying to do the Instagram method, I was cold DMing people video messages. I forgot that I did that. I did do
Oh,
that. But
yeah.
how many people are going to open a video from someone that they don't know? It could be
Oh,
anything. Oh, speaking of, I did get a video that I did not want to see from some perv. I
oh,
told you
really?
about that.
What?
You can't unsee some things. I was like,
Oh,
oh my gosh. It was a photo. It wasn't a video. It was
when
just,
was that? Long time ago?
that was probably a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
why? Why would you send that? Oh, anyways.
I don't know. It's like the bartenders who do inappropriate things to your drink. It's like, what are you getting out of that? I think
Right?
they get some kick out of it.
Fishing. That's what they're doing. They're fishing. This fish is
Fishing?
caught, taken, fishing.
What?
Neil,
What is happening?
the fish in the sea, like when a guy's trying to find a girl and they're fishing. Have you never heard this expression?
Fishing? Like they're fish in the ocean? Talking about that?
Like fishing to see if I'm interested. It was a dick pic, Neil. Do I
Yeah, oh
need to
yeah.
spell it out
Oh,
for
I
you?
know
You
what it
got that
is.
part.
I know what it is, but I don't understand this fishing thing. I'm like, what are you fishing?
Okay.
Just yeah. I guess you're right. Just one out of 1,000 is gonna go, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. Now they're
Let's party.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, so we know what they're doing, but it's just like, really, does that work? I can't imagine it does, but I guess maybe it does.
Apparently it does. You find the right one. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about. All right. Oh shoot, we weren't recording. Darn it. I guess we got to start over. Kidding.
Are you serious? I'm gonna kill you, Rachel.
Kidding. Okay. Your face, you're like, what? I know I'm hungry. I gotta
Like,
eat.
I literally was going like, where did we even start? How long have we been doing this?
I know. We're on practice. So Snapchat's extremely helpful to learn how to be on video. Texting friends, family, clients is a good way to communicate, good way to practice being on camera. Another way is to practice in the mirror. That is very effective for me because I can see what my hands are doing. I pay attention to my body language. I see how how my head turns when I talk. If I'm leaning in or pulling back, like all these different maneuvers that I do, you can kind of practice it and get in the groove and see and hear what you sound like in the mirror.
Yeah. All this is good practice no matter what you're filming with, and playing it back and listening to it is good.
Mhm.
But if you're planning to film on like a DSLR, it will help to practice on a DSLR too, to also just get used to focusing on the lens. I feel like a DSLR is harder for that reason, that it's a big thing, and you can be looking around to spots that you shouldn't look at. If you have the LCD face to you, for example, and you can see that, you're going to look at that, but really you should be looking into the lens. You're going to be really tempted to look at yourself, but you really need to focus right on that lens. And so that's one thing that can help you look a little more natural, is getting used to doing that, which isn't kind of doesn't feel normal to me to do it even right now on the Zoom call. This is me looking right to the lens, and I don't do it most of the time.
Right.
So
I know I never do. I never look at the lens.
I don't think it's as important for our podcast, but if I was doing a reel with this, I would definitely be looking at the lens. It makes a difference for sure.
Totally. 100% Neil. All right. If you
I'm
want
with ya.
the best tip, I'm going to give you the best tip to get
Nothing
better
but
at
the
video.
tip.
Oh my gosh, Neal. Neal's fired off the podcast. Do you know what reel I watched today, which was
What?
really fun? Dom, there's a girl, Rachel, that Dom does media with, and they just posted another reel. And she did one talking about the big deck. And
Oh
then she
yeah.
goes, if you trim the bushes, the deck looks bigger. He just kept going. And Dom's like, we're trying to be professional here. It was so good.
That's great. I
It
love
was so
that.
good. Okay.
That's
Number one way that I have used to get better at video is by recording myself with an audio recorder and listening to it back so I can
oh,
hear what I sound like. And I like this because I can really hear my voice and how my tone is coming across. I don't get hung up on what I look or what my hands are doing. It's really singling out just the voice part of it, which I think is one of the most important parts to getting your message across. Because we can add B-roll over the video that will help support the story. But if the way you're saying it and the conviction and the confidence in your voice is not there, it's not going to land right to the listener.
yeah. I like that a lot. That's like I kind of do the opposite of that sometimes editing videos. You ever do that, like watching or reviewing a video that an editor sent to me? Sometimes I turn the music off because the music can kind of like distract you from the things that are wrong. I kind
Mm-hmm.
of do the opposite. You ever done that? And you're
No,
watching like, oh, that didn't look smooth. But
never.
then on the other side of that, I guess the music can help it fix it
Yeah.
if it doesn't do it perfect.
I feel like without the music, it's really boring to watch.
Yeah. I've never done, well, actually, I have recorded myself I used to in the car. I used to have one of those old what were the little micro like cassettes? One of those little
Oh,
recorders back in
really?
the day. Oh,
Funny.
yeah. Went back in the day in like college when I wanted to do stand-up comedy. I used to just like in the car because I always had these ideas. I would record myself as I was driving. God, I should go find those tapes. But that would be embarrassing. There's amazing stuff in
Oh,
there, I'm sure.
is that
Just
all your
amazingly
stand-up?
embarrassing. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
your
yeah.
stand-up
Just
comedy
all
bit on there?
just me talking out random thoughts that I think are funny that 99% of them are not, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a lot of my brainstorming for my course. I would get an idea and I would just press record is the app that I use. And I would do voice recordings. I've sent them to you in the past of
Mm.
me, just like an idea or a riff, or I'd read something in a book that really hit for me and I'd record it. And then I'd have an idea off of that and I'd expand and talk about the idea. And it was kind of a premise for a reel that I wanted to do or a tip Tuesday or something. But it
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
kind of my way of some people are verbal processors. So if you talk through your idea, it's easier for you than trying to sit and do it quietly. So for
Mm.
me,
Yeah,
that
that
works.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So record yourself. Next is to start studying how other people communicate on video. Okay, so find some people that are doing video marketing, the ones that really stop you in your tracks and make you watch, and then start dissecting their video. What is it about their video that is making you stay engaged? What is it that's really pulling you in and holding you on that content? Is it their mannerisms? Is it the hook? Is it the content itself? Is it their vulnerability? Is it their personality? Are they making you laugh? Are they
Yeah.
beautiful? What is it?
Maybe it's just the size of their deck.
Could could be the size of their deck.
You never
So,
know.
you know, you're hilarious. That just came out of left field. I'm all serious, riffing, and here comes Neal. I love you, buddy. Okay.
Couldn't resist.
So yes, studying how people communicate is important. Important. Good way to learn. Like, how do I get back to what I was saying
Rough
after
transition.
that? Goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So dissect it and just start following accounts because you like their video content and just start studying what they do. There's plenty of creators out there. If you want a tip, go to our Shooting the Shit with Rach and Neal podcast or Instagram. Go to our podcast, guys. Go to our Shooting the Shit with Rach and Neal Instagram page and go to the people that we follow. And you can go through and start following those people. And though, because we just follow mostly creators. So you'll find some people on there that are really doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
or could be doing. They can give you inspiration and ideas. And just find a few that you really enjoy watching and just start studying and dissecting what they're doing.
Oh,
It'll
and
help you to get
that's
better.
the better example actually. I do that sometimes when I see people's reel and I think, why am I do think about that. Why am I so engaged? Why am I wanting to watch more of these? And sometimes
Mhm.
I will turn off the volume on those because I feel like it's easier for me to pay attention to the cuts that they're doing or the
Mm.
oh they cut in tighter and then they cut out wider because for whatever reason for me when I'm also listening to it it's not as like obvious to me. And so sometimes separating the two is cool. And then maybe don't look at it as well and then just listen to it and
Yeah.
see what they're doing with inflection and stuff too. Yeah.
That's great. You could go even a step further too and save, you can save reels on Instagram and
Yep.
you could set up different folders for different things. So maybe
Yeah.
one's video production, maybe one is messaging, maybe one is hooks, maybe one is I just like this person and I don't know why. I don't know. You could do just
Yeah.
one for video inspiration too and have them all in there. But it's a good way to be able to go back and revisit them. I have all kinds of
Yeah.
folders in my Instagram.
A lot of times it's funny you don't even realize why you're so engaged to it until you hear somebody explain like why you should do something and they give you an example of the video and you're like, oh, that's why I liked that video. He was
Yeah.
doing that. I didn't even
Mhm.
realize, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next up for practicing is to start in stories on Instagram. Your
Yes.
stories, the reason is stories are only up for 24 hours and then they disappear. So it's short and sweet. If you don't love it, it's okay. It's going to be gone in 24 hours anyway. And in stories, it's really just about documenting your day. It's nothing really polished and finished. It's just, hey, come along with me on the day in the life of a real estate photographer, drinking my coffee, right? You get in
Yeah.
the car and you push play while your phone's on a stand so you don't get in trouble for doing that because I've done that. And talk about how you're, I don't know, whatever you're going to talk about for the day. But talk about something, right? Like get your face on camera, make it short and sweet, show yourself out shooting. There's so many easy ways to get on camera in stories. You can do a talking head. You could do a series like Tip Tuesday or Nerd Out with Neil or Mindset Minute. Mindset Mondays, Whiteboard Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, Fun Fridays. There's so many different ideas for series that you can do. We have a whole episode on that, a couple back if you
Yeah.
want to listen.
Check out the series
Yeah, it's
episode.
good. But just to start posting something in stories is a good way to put yourself out there. And those stories only get shown to your current followers, not to non-followers. So it's people that already know you. So that kind of takes the pressure off too, knowing that it's not going to go out to complete strangers. Um,
Yeah. And
um,
make a commitment. Oh, big make a commitment to yourself. Make a little promise to yourself for some goal. What you're gonna do. You're gonna do one story a week. You're gonna do a
no,
story.
you're going to do
You
one
can
story
do
a day, Neil.
you start wherever you want to start, so long as
Fine.
you're consistent, you're gonna build and it's
Fine.
gonna become easier and easier. And then you're gonna get, you know what? I could do two of these a week. I could do three of these a week, whatever. Um, yeah, it becomes much easier once you get in your brain. But if you make a promise to yourself, if that doesn't work, finding an accountability buddy who says, "Did you do your story today, Neil?" I don't know who that would be.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, and then our series thing. I think the biggest thing about the series that we talked about is when you say you're going to do Tip Tuesday, you also told the world you're going to do it. So now you're accountable to all those people too, or you can tell yourself that you're going to let them down if you don't do it. So you got to do it. So it kind of helps you get going, and the more you do it, the better you get, the easier it gets from there.
100% what he said. Yeah. The Tip Tuesday
Yeah.
has held me accountable on social because there's so many Tuesdays where I'm like, oh, my hair's not done. I don't want to do this. I don't know what my tip is today. And then I'm like, just do it, Rach. I've missed a few weeks in a row, but for the most part, I do every week. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you're pretty
Okay.
good at it.
Next, Neil, we're going to do some breathing exercises.
Oh.
I would like for you to breathe in, breathe out.
Like Lamaze?
No, we're not having a baby. We're filming a video.
Uh,
Mm.
well, we could film a video of having a baby.
Oh, that would be
I couldn't. I'm not capable.
okay. I'm not having any more babies, so we can't do that one. Sorry, it's out. Why is this episode so weird?
I don't know.
Okay, it's late. I'm not
We
gonna lie.
talked
We
about
recorded all
flying
three
our
of these in a
we
row. This
talked
is our
about
third
flying
one.
our freak flag, which I still can't say,
Yeah.
and here it is.
Talked about large ducks and
Yes.
bushes.
This is the
The
inappropriate
happy
series.
idiot.
The happy idiot.
I started doing video marketing back in 2020, and I think it was 2021 when I hired Matt to do some team videos for me, which were
Mm.
more professional and polished. And before that, I'd worked with a videographer who I was kind of hosting stuff for and getting on camera. So it started really back in 2020. And every time that the camera would come up and I'd look into that lens, the blood would just drain from my body, terrified. I would feel dizzy. I'd forget my lines. I would clam up. It was bad. I was like, why does this always happen to me? Like, like shaking my hands. I'm like kind of freaking out, in my own head.
Mm.
So I found that breathing, I asked Matt, I was like, I'm so nervous. Like, how do I calm down? Like, what do I do? And he goes, just take some deep breaths and drink some water. I was like, okay. So I breathed till I calmed down, which worked. And I drank some water. Another thing that I really like to do is to get up and shake it off, jump around a little bit and just be like, because there's so many times we get so stiff feeling and we're tensing up all of our muscles because we're scared. And then if you can just shake it out, it's like releases that negative energy out of your body. And then you're like, okay, pumped up, I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Shake it off. Shake
Shake it
it
off.
off. Oh.
Shake it.
I'm just
Shake
envisioning.
it.
Yeah.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Come on.
See? And now
Yeah,
you're having
y'all
so
know
much
it.
fun.
I know you're
There we
dancing
go.
to it. So
Now you're
shake it.
dancing. People are staring at this point, but it's okay because you're getting loose.
It doesn't matter. It's
That's right.
important. What's important is that
You're
it
the
gets
life of the
video out.
party. They wish they were you at that point. They're
They're
just
like, how does
jealous.
that girl have so much confidence to dance with a Polaroid picture right now?
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
cool.
She's doing it.
Says nobody. Okay.
She's cool.
If you cannot look into the lens, I have more to say about looking into the lens, I think. But I think that
Please
comes
do
in the eye
tell.
contact part. So we'll talk about that then. But if you cannot speak into that lens, if you're just having the whole anxiety panic attack like I was, you can't get over it, you're super uncomfortable, you can look just off camera. Like look a little bit to the left as if there was someone sitting in a chair and talk to that person. It's kind of that interview style where they shoot the side of your face at like a 45-degree angle versus straight on looking directly into the camera. So those I've seen a lot of, and that is way easier to do than to look into that lens. I don't know. That lens is scary. It's
Yeah, well,
glass. Glass is not very warm.
if you're creating your own content, I think we've seen a lot of people do this, is the podcast style, and that's kind of it. Look, they're filming like you're talking to somebody, and that looks even more natural because the microphone, for some reason, establishes, oh, this is just their half of the interview, so they're looking at somebody and talking, so it doesn't feel fake, you know?
Yeah, but we all know you don't have a podcast and it's fake. So
We do know that. Us
I'm
creators
kidding.
know that, but the realtors probably don't.
I saw a
There,
reel
there
like
are
that
plenty
the
of
other
people
day.
that I've seen, and I'm like, I know they don't definitely not have a podcast. I can tell they just staged this, but I don't think
Hey,
the general population knows.
no, and who cares? I saw a reel making fun of people for that. It was funny the other day. They're like,
Oh
we
yeah,
know you don't have a real podcast.
we know you're in your bathroom right now.
I've done it when I'm not podcasting. I'm talking to Casey and answering questions, and we get shorts from it, and it's great.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
great way to get content. So don't be afraid to do that. It's okay you don't have a real podcast. Make a fake podcast. It works and it's cool and it's effective. And you don't have to look into the lens. Next is to take deep breaths. We already talked about that. We were talking about that. Okay,
Did you tell?
affirmations.
Oh yeah, we did that. We did. Okay, sorry. Yep, go ahead.
Neil, repeat after me.
Okay,
I am
repeat
wanted.
after me.
No, not Neil. You're doing it wrong. Okay, now after I say repeat after me, then you start repeating after me.
Oh, okay.
I am wanted.
I am wanted.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I do and I will succeed.
I do, and I will succeed.
Yay. Okay, now say it again, but louder. I am wanted.
I am wanted.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I do and I will succeed.
I do, and I will succeed.
Okay, now do that about 18 times in your car on the way to filming and get louder and louder until you're absolutely screaming it, and it will raise up your energy and make you more confident. Positive, you can do whatever you want, but that's my favorite. Positive affirmations on your way to the shoot will definitely help you have more energy be more into it, feel better about yourself. We have a subconscious mind that runs like 80% of our day. We're on autopilot, and we have to tell it what we want it to think because otherwise it'll just run on its original programming. So if we want to switch it up and change it, we have to tell it that. And you can do that in multiple ways, but the most influential time on your subconscious mind is right before you go to bed and right when you wake up. So if you were trying to read a book and learn a new thing, do it the first 30 minutes when you wake up, hour when you wake up. It's the best time to absorb information, or right before you go to bed if you're a night person. Neal's
This whole
dancing.
talk got the catwalk song in my head.
What?
On the catwalk, I'm a model, and you know what I mean. I think that's my song going to my shoot. And I do my little thing on the catwalk.
Is that what you sing to yourself on your way to your shoots?
That's what I'm gonna now. It
That's
seems to be
great.
working. Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. All right. I like that one.
I'm too sexy
Little
for
songs.
my shoot. Too sexy for my shoot. Too sexy by far.
I really hope that Opus Clip pulls that short for us. We need you singing. Okay. Next, we're going to prepare for our shoot. And this is really important because the day of your filming, you have enough to worry about. So I said this before, pack your outfit the day before, be ready to go. Take the time to have enough time scheduled in your day to get ready. Don't leave yourself with 30 minutes where you're rushed, especially ladies, because there's nothing worse than feeling rushed when you're trying to get all cute. It's the worst.
Don't
And
I know
then,
it?
yes, make sure you have your scripts already ready to go, your outlines ready to go, so you can bust out multiple videos in one sitting, so you're not wasting your time.
Yeah.
The effort that it takes to get ready for these shoots, at least for me, a lot of people will rent a space as well to film in. So if you have an outline of what you want to get done for the day, just having that one day for content creation, it'll help you to have almost a month's worth of content, even more in one sitting. You want to choose an outfit and a location that make you feel confident, right? Something that's going to match your brand. Make sure it's on brand. If your brand colors are green and white or green and tan like mine are, you probably don't want to film somewhere that's fluorescent orange or hot pink. It's kind of off brand. So make sure you choose kind of something that fits your style, fits your demographic. Who are you speaking to? If you're aiming to shoot, you want to shoot for all luxury clients, you probably should shoot in a luxury listing so that they feel like they're right at home, right? Feel like you're
Yep.
speaking to them. One thing I would say is limit how many people you allow in the room when you're filming, because having an audience is stressful and there's enough pressure on you as is to be filming. So if you need them to leave, just ask them to scram. Say, hey, you know what? I'm really stressed out. Can you guys please just go wait outside? I've done this with Master Plan before. I'm like, there's like 6 people in this room that don't need to be in this room. Can we please, can we please have them leave? It would help me. And you don't need the extra pressure.
Yeah, it is more stressful with more people for whatever reason.
Yeah. Do you have anything else for preparation, Neil, that you want to add?
Preparation, I wing it a lot. I know I've said this before. I do wing it a lot. Something I'm fairly good at, but there's a lot of time wasted there. So if you do have your script or your bullets, it will really help you get dialed in much faster and waste a lot of less time trying to get your takes right or get on point. So that's something I try to work on for myself is go, okay, this time I'm actually going to script it, not just wing it, Neil.
Yeah. Good idea. I did
Yeah.
that with my Tip Tuesday,
Hmm.
which was Plod.
Oh,
And I wrote it out and then I brought it down and I just had it on the ground and I set up my camera and I did my Tip Tuesday and my Mindset Minute. Mindset Minute I had down. I didn't need that one scripted. But the Plod one, I wanted to say a certain hook and like I had to write that down and I kind of thought about it before, which was nice. And then I came down and busted out 2 of them. It took me 30 minutes to record both of them and edit them. And I was done. So that was great.
yeah. And a lot
And
of times,
usually a lot of my content is on the fly too. I don't plan out a lot of my reels. It's kind of like I get the inspiration and I implement. I do it right there.
mhm. Yeah, the bigger it is, the more complex it is, then the more important it's going to be for your bullets and or script. And sometimes things are just tricky to get the wording right and as succinct for me as I want them to be. So if I actually stop, at least that part, if nothing else, stop and go, okay, write down what it should be. Because what I'll do is I'll just keep doing take after take, going, no, that wasn't quite it. And I finally go, hold on, dude, write down, stop, think it out for a second. Okay, because you'll get that in one take when you do that. So,
Yeah, exactly. Next up is to convey some confidence, which we've touched on quite a bit. Confidence is a big one. And it's hard to feel confident when you're self conscious, worried about yourself. Because that's how most of us are when we start video. We're like, ah, scary. Body language plays a huge role in your confidence. So you want to stand up tall, you want to hold yourself presentable, you want to walk with confidence. Don't cross your arms in front of you because that's
do
signaling that you
not,
don't want to be there. Like,
yeah,
I
do not
don't
cross the
like this. I
arms.
don't want to be here. Don't put your hands in your pockets, both of them. It shows that you're hiding something.
Hmm.
So, and you can have one hand in your pocket, but then bring it out eventually.
Yeah.
Like,
That is one of the bigger questions that people ask a lot when they're
mhm.
getting on camera first is like they feel really awkward because for whatever reason you just feel like you never knew what you did with your hands prior to
Right.
that moment.
I know.
And you're like people are literally just like, what do I do with my hands? And
Yes.
so what I do is I tell them to find a comfort zone for your hand, generally like crossing your fingers in front of you in a way that you would normally kind of hold them casually is a comfort zone, or like a hands together kind of thing like this, if that's something you naturally do, or hands clasped like this could be like a comfort zone. And I usually tell them that I feel more comfortable when I start talking using my hands
Hmm.
as I talk. And so moving my hands feels more natural than staying put. I think the most awkward thing is when your hands are doing nothing, you feel like a statue.
Yeah.
So if you start with your hands and emphasize, you start out talking about something important. So it's usually natural to go, my favorite thing about photographing houses is this thing. And then whenever it feels comfortable, you can relax your hands together, clasp them together. And then when you want to emphasize, you bring it back out. And then that gives you something to do with your hands. And often
Mhm.
something to do with your hands is super helpful. We were talking about this on set the other day. Actually, it came up like that. Why do people hold that little, like the DJI mics and the Rode mics and
Yeah.
stuff? A lot of people will just hold it, and then actually the agent was like, "Oh, maybe it actually makes them feel more comfortable too because they have something to do." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, actually, that totally does work."
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
So,
so true. It's so true.
yeah.
One
Yeah.
thing that I do too with a lot of my clients is I tell them to walk towards the camera and I walk backwards because
Mhm.
walking is you're doing something with your hands and you can still use your hands, but then if you're walking, your hands are just naturally swinging and it just feels better. So kind of that walking and talking. It's
Mhm.
also more engaging to watch when
Yeah.
when there's movement from the
Movement definitely is
subject.
more engaging. Yeah.
So just remember to maintain a strong stance and to stay open. Don't shut
Yeah.
down. When we're
Some
scared,
people,
we kind of cocoon in and shut down and get small. So just remember you want to be big. The bigger you can be, the more confident you'll come across. So use your hands.
yeah, when you
Chin
get
up.
started too, like some people that I work with, um, need to walk, and that was the only thing that saved them was walking. And
Mm.
then there are some people who absolutely cannot walk and talk, and the only thing that will save them is to stay put or sit down.
You know, the problem with walking and talking is they have to do it in one take because you can't cut that up because they'd be like walking in a different,
Yeah,
they'd skip forward. So that is a little bit more challenging in that sense. But if it's one sentence, it shouldn't be hard
yeah.
to deliver
But yeah,
that
but
one line.
some people it's whether it gets you into your brain or out of your brain. Some people it gets them out of their brain so that they can spit it out all of a sudden because they're just more focused on something else than the words. And
Yeah.
some people it's the opposite and they just can't say a word or they can't physically walk naturally when they try to talk. They literally go like, and now my foot. And then I say a word, and now my foot. And so, so you gotta find the thing, try a couple of things, and find where you're most comfortable to start. Start there, and then if you want to try walking after you get that down, try walking.
There you go.
It's different for everybody, I found.
Yeah. No, it is. Everyone's different. So whatever you can do, if you can handle it, do it. Do it, do it, do it.
Near it.
Yeah. There are a lot of TED Talks out there or TEDx talks about public speaking and body language. I'd
Mm,
highly recommend watching one on body language.
yeah.
I tried to find it yesterday after my presentation because I referenced this. It was such a good TEDx about body language and public speaking. And I got so much out of it. It talks about how when you lean forward and just pause for a minute, it creates like empathy. you know, and how he named all the different hand positions that people do. He had names for them, which were
Oh,
hilarious. So
interesting.
there was
Oh,
humor
that's
in
fun.
it. Yeah, it made it more fun to
Who?
watch.
What
And
was the TED
I
Talk? Do you
don't
remember?
remember. It was like so long ago, probably a year and a half ago. I watched it. Maybe 2 years ago. I watched it for master plan because I was trying to be better on camera. I'm like, what can
Yeah,
I do? I'm
yeah.
like, I'm gonna study body language. There we go. So go look up a TED Talk on body language. There's like 1,600 on there. I just tried to find that one and I'm like, well, I can't find it. So I found it on YouTube. So check it out.
Yeah. And I will say that a few that I do know is like open hands is
Hmm.
generally a positive thing. Hands towards is can be positive. Clasping your hands, I think, is pretty obvious. Making fists is not the way you want to go.
That says I want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
I'm
That does not
dangerous.
say pleasant things. Yeah.
I'm
So,
mean.
but people do it a lot because they get nervous and they clench up.
Yeah,
So relax your hands.
good advice. Camera angle is a big one too, to
Mm,
convey confidence. So when you're sitting down at a meeting with somebody across the table, you are sitting eye to eye, right? You're at eye level. So make sure your camera is at eye level. You don't want to have it too high pointed down on you or too low where it's looking up your nostrils. You want it just right in the middle. So that person feels like they're sitting across the table having a conversation with you and you're looking right into the lens so that you're talking directly to that person. And they'll feel like they're heard and seen if you're looking right at them.
You're on equal playing field in that scenario. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit in our headshot course too. A lot of people, the trend is to do the high up camera angle down because they like the way that looks for their neck and stuff like that, right? They think that's a flattering angle. But the downside to this, you looking up to the camera is that's childlike. You're looking up to someone that is the authority. You are no longer the authority. So the opposite is true. If that camera angle is just a little bit lower, you're the authority. So you want to be even or just a teeny bit below and your authority. But when it's here, you're weak. You're not strong.
But you know what? Women like the camera angle aiming down on them a little bit because it's more flattering. It is a more flattering angle for women
But if
when
you
you're
think about
filming.
any derogatory photo of a woman, they're also shooting down on them.
That's very true. It makes you look more demure and more
It's not
feminine.
powerful.
You want a power pose, you got to shoot up those nostrils. One mistake that I always see people make when they're on a Zoom call is they're on their laptops and they use the little camera on their laptop, which is great, whatever, but you want to put maybe 5 or 6 books under your laptop to
Yeah.
jack it up so that
No.
camera is at eye level. It
No,
just
you
looks so much
definitely don't
better.
want the up the nostrils angle at all. That is not good.
Okay,
Nope.
we got to move on because we're taking too long. Mama's hungry. Okay, eye contact. We're going to talk about looking into those eyes, those beautiful, beautiful eyes. Okay. Look into the lens. Pretend it's a client or your best friend. This was what I was going to tell you about. So, when you were talking to the camera, you're
Mm.
talking to a piece of equipment and it's hard to deliver your lines. Sometimes you forget them. You're like, I don't know, this just doesn't feel right. Start turning the camera into your client. Imagine that you're on site talking to your client, delivering these lines directly to them. It's kind of like the self-conscious, other conscious thing. It's the same concept. Just thinking about that lens as someone else. I've told brokers this and it's night and day difference. I don't know what it is, but they get it. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna pretend like that's my best friend. And I'm just talking to Chad, whoever your best friend is, right?
Chad is my best friend.
That's what I thought. That's why I said it. I totally knew that. That was my subconscious
I
remembering
do have a
that
great
fact.
friend. I do have a great friend, Chad. That's funny.
Is he the one that leaves you inappropriate voicemails?
No, that's Jonas. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Jonas. Oh, bless his heart.
No. No. Chad is the my friend from summer camp since we were kids and we used
Oh,
to help
yes, yes,
run summer camp. Chad is the one who gave me some of the best marital advice I ever got. He said
yes.
to me, "Listen, take a tip from me. When your wife is pregnant and dressed all in red, don't look at her and go, ho, ho, ho."
Yeah,
Best advice I ever got.
that's valid. That's valid.
Hmm. Yeah, you don't do it. It's not
Yeah.
good.
Hey,
He
Neil.
learned the hard way.
Hey, Neil. Did I tell you about the kid on the airplane that was sitting behind me? He was like
No.
9-year-old boy. He was like young Sheldon. I will just set it up that way. Okay. And his poor mom. He's kicking my seat behind me and he's loud. He's asking all these ridiculous questions to his mom. At first, I'm like, this woman is a terrible mother. Like, she's so rude to this little kid. And as the flight went on, I kind of started to understand like, this kid doesn't stop talking and doesn't stop asking questions. And he goes, Mommy, why does Santa say bad words? He says three bad words over, and he says it over and over and over again. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. And he's saying it so loud. And I am dying laughing. Everyone around me is like trying not to laugh. It was so good. Ho, 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 ho. And the mom's like, I don't know, honey. I don't know. I'm like, just the fact.
That's all she said.
That's all she said. She's like, I don't know. And then I turned around and I had to say something to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, your son is adorable. Like, so funny. She goes, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm praying for you, girl. She's like, you have no idea. She's like, I didn't realize it, but when I started watching young Sheldon, I was like, that's my son. I literally have a young Sheldon. She's like, it's been very challenging. Very challenging.
How old was the kid again?
Like 9, probably 10. Young.
Oh,
Too
my
young.
gosh.
Yeah,
That's
to be
funny.
talking about ho 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 being a bad word. It was hilarious.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, back to the podcast. If you are filming on your cell phone and it's facing towards you and you see that there's like the little green light, you need to be looking at the light when you're filming yourself. Do not look at yourself when you're filming. This is the number one biggest mistake I see new people make. So if you can't help but look at yourself, put a sticky note over your screen or turn your phone around and film it so you can't see yourself. Because
Get over yourself. Jeez.
gosh, it's a little
God.
conceited, guys. Not
Oh my gosh.
no, I did it for a long time, and it's hard to get in the habit of looking up. But you can always watch it when you're done. You're not only going to see it one time.
You're allowed when you're done.
Yep, just not while you're filming. You can't watch it until you're done.
No.
And then you want to just smile with your eyes to allow your gaze to be warm, inviting, and more natural.
Follow Tyra Banks and smize.
Yeah, or Peter Hurley with this. What did he call that? The smidge? Smile.
Oh,
Squinch.
I
The
forget.
squinch.
Oh, squinch.
Yeah. Peter Hurley with the squinch, where you just squint your eyes a little bit and
little
it gives
squint.
you like that sedactive
Yeah.
outlook.
Ooh, what's he thinking?
You can get a little crazy and you look like you have something in your eye, so watch out. All right. And lastly, we're going to say to you, my biggest tip is to just do it. Just hop on and start doing it. I get that it's scary, but everyone's doing it now. It's time to jump in. It works.
Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone else jumped off a bridge, would you?
Yep.
I would.
That is what I like. Like 7th grade, and we do it that was my argument. Everybody jumped off the bridge to do it. And I was a smart ass all the time. And I was like, well, if everybody jumped off the bridge, it would be so depressing and I'd be totally alone. So yeah, I'd probably follow suit.
Hey, that's a good
You're
answer.
just like, God, I hate this kid.
Whatever. Yes. Well, we know that video marketing works. We are encouraging our clients to do it. They're hearing it everywhere they go. So they're expecting to see you on video. They're expecting to see more and more people jump in. And if you do it, you will be a role model to your clients and you will start looking more like the authority and being more of authority in this realm where all of your clients are going to be eventually, or majority of them, most of them already are. And you can help them along, which is, if you've done something, you now have the authority and the know-how to teach it to someone else. So lead by example. Hop on, get started, and grow your
Get her
business.
done. Get her done.
Yeah.
All right.
One more thing. This also trickles over into other areas of your life. Like I said, if you're good on video, you're going to be able to present better at broker presentations. You're going to have more confidence doing that. If you get asked to do a speaking engagement and speak at a conference or something, it's going to help you prepare for that as well. So it can trickle over into other areas of life, even just meeting a client for the first time. If you've practiced your lines and you know how to deliver things and you learn about your messaging and how to do a hook, line, and sinker, right? Like the hook and the call to action, all that. Like you're going to speak better when you're talking to your clients, which will help you in the long run. So we have a content bundle for sale, Neal. It's really
for
cool.
2025.
Yeah.
And it's got all kinds of calls to action.
Yes.
It's got hooks.
Yeah.
And it's available on Grow with Rach and Neal.
.com. Yes.
Yeah,
My
don't forget
favorite
that.
part, honestly, are the hooks and the call to action. I mean, the content ideas are great, but the hooks and calls to action are fantastic. The call to actions are broken out by if you want shares, comments, DMs. So they're tailored to those things and they're creative. I think they're great. I think they're wonderful, Neil.
I agree.
Okay.
I think our listeners are wonderful, and I appreciate y'all
Yeah. Thanks for
checking
listening.
out our series. And if you've got questions about getting on camera or maybe gear for getting on camera, you know that. But if you didn't, we could help. Yeah, so don't be afraid to reach out, DM us, and we look forward to hearing from you.
We'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.